Mike Moore Media, the first place to hear Rockingham County news and information.
On this edition of Rocket in Reidsville, Jeff Garstka, Economic Development Director for the City of Reidsville. He's on the line. Hey, Jeff.
Hey, Mike, how are you?
I'm doing just great. Today we're talking about something that's been in the planning stages for a while, and now it's a reality. Tell us all about it, Jeff.
Well, back in October 2017, the city leadership ran across a project in Greene County, North Carolina, that was a manual machining lab at one of their high schools. And this was an opportunity for high school students to train on very basic machines for manufacturing and learn basic blueprint reading skills and sort of the building blocks of manufacturing jobs. And it was able to basically supply the needs of a workforce for an entire region down there. It's a relatively desolate area as far as population and industry, but it filled a gap for them. And so we looked at it and said, why can't we replicate that model here in Reidsville and be one of the pieces of the puzzle of workforce development that we keep searching for? And so we worked with the Rockingham County School System, Rockingham Community College, with the county government. We chased a Golden Leaf grant, which had funded the Greene County project, and we approached them with it. And, of course, they had already kind of set the precedent that they funded projects like this, so we felt good about that. And we had a lot of work put into writing the grant and planning the project, and a lot of people involved, a lot of good leadership, and almost 3 years to the day, just a month shy of 3 years to the day. We're here. It opened yesterday with a ribbon cutting.
I tell you, this is an exciting project for sure. A lot of partnerships involved in this, as you mentioned, a real team effort, Team Reidsville. Let's talk about Golden Leaf a little bit, because they had some questions and you answered them. So that's worked out well for sure.
Yeah, I've worked with Golden Leaf for many years, and of course, they are the state tobacco settlement money from many years ago went into a foundation that's really for economic advancement for the state, and a lot of it goes to rural communities and tobacco distressed communities. So I've done a lot of work with them in the past, and it's an organization that has very high expectations and does not just write checks because they have money in the bank. They really want to see a return. They want to know that if they're going to invest in a project, that they want to see that the results are what we say they're going to be. So really, the two questions they had for us, one was, do we have enough students interested in the pipeline at Reidsville High School, and really countywide? Because I'll back up and mention this program is open to all Rockingham County high school students. Mm-hmm. They can get you over to Reidsville High School to take this program, just like they have the Healthcare Academy, the Public Safety Academy, and others at the other high schools. So they had the two questions were, one, do we have enough students to fill the pipeline to use these machines to learn? And two, do our local industries have enough jobs waiting in the wings to hire these types of students? And some of the companies, some of the smaller companies in the area and larger ones really, they're looking for higher skilled computer integrated machining, very sophisticated machinery, and that's what the community college is for. That's what they can train people for. So these folks earn college credits to go. They can transfer to an associate's degree in machining and get high-paying jobs at our industries, or they can go straight into the workforce. We have a lot of companies that all they need are individuals who know how to use very basic machines like mills and lathes and things like that. So it's kind of a double-edged sword here. We can get these kids out into the workforce right after high school graduation, or they can move on with well over one semester's worth of credit hours to go towards an associate's degree.
This is a win-win. I guess it's really a win-win-win, come to think about it, on many levels.
It is, yeah. And it's taught by, they hired a faculty member with the community college, and she's actually on the high school campus teaching these students the machining program. So it's taught by community college faculty in the high school, so that's where the college credit hours come in. So it's just a very unique thing. When we talk about economic development, our competition and marketing, and how do we stand out above the rest, and you always try to find that one or two unique things that nobody around you has, and this is one of those things. So we're really proud of that we can offer something that really none of our neighbors around us have.
Sure, yeah. Let's talk about some of the industries. I know we've mentioned these before, but some that you have locally that have been here for many years, and then some of the international companies that have located in Reidsville, and they need these people as soon as they finish it seems.
They do. I mean, we had tremendous support. We approached this idea once we kind of internally got our act together and our story straight. We took this to our Reidsville Industrial Alliance in a meeting in December of, I guess it was 2018. And we said, we think this is a good idea for our community. We think it's going to help our industries. We need your support, obviously, because you're the ones hiring people, that would complete these programs. And do you all support it? And rather than just raising their hands, they all said, they raised their hands and said, yes, how can we help? So we had Albad USA, we had Dorada Foods, which at that time was Keystone Foods. Tri-State Steel was a big partner, Reidsville Precision Machine, Reidsville Metalworks, Amos Welding. Companies large and small in the community were very supportive of it. And we actually had a field trip, took a bus down to Greene County in February of, I guess it was 2018. Took a bus down to Greene County, met with the Golden Leaf folks and with the team that had built the project down in Greene County just to learn more about it. And the fact that we had, 3 or 4 industry leaders on that bus really told us everything we needed to know about the kind of support that our private industry felt was important for this project.
Sure, yeah, the support was right there. We're talking about the Reidsville High School Manual Machining Academy ribbon cutting yesterday. That went well. Take us into the facility and kind of give us a tour there, if you would, Jeff.
Sure. So initially, they looked at a couple of different areas at the high school. Finally, they had actually settled on the old football locker rooms, which, as you know, at Reidsville High School is sacred ground.
Yeah.
So they kind of disrupted the football locker rooms a little bit, and they had some architects and engineers draw up some really good plans to renovate that space into the machining lab, which the Golden Leaf, again, was the primary funding source. And then the school system itself actually put in somewhere in the neighborhood of $250,000 out of its own budget, which, again, speaks volumes to their commitment. Mm-hmm. And another thing Golden Leaf looks for is other money. They don't like being the only money in the game, so that was important to the project. But they renovated the space next to it into new football locker rooms. So the football team's got brand-new locker rooms. The machining academy's got brand-new machines in a big lab and also classroom space to learn outside of the lab.
I tell you, that's just absolutely great when I hear you talk about it, and I know the passion is there for sure. Who can take these classes? Tell us again who's involved. It's
geared towards juniors and seniors in high school. So one of the things we really tried hard to do was get we actually surveyed middle school students. When we had to answer those difficult questions about the pipeline of potential students, we actually went to the middle school and surveyed students, if this program were available to you in high school, in your later years in high school, would you be interested? And, I think the response was maybe 8 or 10% said yes, but if you look at the sheer numbers, that's 80 or so kids that were interested. Well, we only have 10 machines, so that's a pretty good pipeline. And that's pretty average as far as, the folks who would be interested in these career and technical education programs typically. So, we found that as kids are coming up through the ranks and looking for, what are they going to do for a living when they get out of high school, this is a great way to steer them in a direction of a great career with plenty of jobs available in our community. And, so it's juniors and seniors primarily taking the classes. And, again, they earn, I think they earn up to 15 hours of community college credit through the course of the program.
Mm-hmm, yeah, and taught by RCC faculty right there on the Reidsville High School campus. So how convenient is that?
That is correct.
Yeah,
and
okay.
As someone said yesterday, it's kind of like Enterprise Rent-A-Car. We will pick you up and bring you here to the school to take the class.
I tell you, this is great that Reidsville again on the cutting edge, making things happen like this now and for our future young people. Well, we've covered all of the basics here on this. Is there anything else in particular you wanted to mention, Jeff?
No, I'll just say, they actually had started some of the classes last semester before in the spring. And of course, then they had the pandemic, and that kind of slowed things down towards the end of the semester. As far as having the kids on the campus, but they didn't want to lose the momentum. We had this thing, it finally, 3 years later, 2.5 years later at the time, It was finally open. It was up and running. All the excitement was there. And then you have a pandemic to essentially shut things down. We didn't want to lose that momentum, so a ton of credit goes to the community college and to the school system. Really, at the drop of a hat, figure out how do we keep this thing going despite the circumstances we face. And so they're still able to have these kids on campus 4 days a week to use the machines, and then there is some distance learning, some textbook type work. They learn a lot about safety in the workplace. They learn about blueprint reading and all those sort of basic building blocks of machining that don't require hands-on training, but you have to have the hands-on training. I mean, those machines are there for a reason. Those kids need to be there learning how to use the equipment. And so to have them on campus is absolutely critical. And, we had 7 or 8 students in the first class going through right now that all, volunteered and said, yeah, we'll come to campus. We're not afraid to be there. And they practice all the appropriate social distancing there in the lab with the machines as well as in the classroom setting that they have. So all the safety precautions are in place, and so it's working out well. And again, we really didn't want to lose the momentum. And what I told somebody the other day about Reidsville, this pandemic has not slowed us down. We've still seen a lot of good activity and a lot of good things happening. And I feel like we haven't really felt sorry for ourselves. This is not a reason for us to have a pity party. This is a reason for us to come together even stronger as a team and continue to make good things happen. This is one great example of that.
Sure, yeah. And how cool is that for this first group of students to be there in this first class? I mean, that's pretty neat.
They were excited. We got a chance to talk with them yesterday. They were all there at the ribbon cutting, and they were showing some of the officials that were at the ribbon cutting around and showing them how the machines work. And you could just tell the excitement in their voices and on their faces that how excited they were about being a part of this and being being the inaugural class to go through this, and we kept bringing up the word opportunity. This is an opportunity for people. Don't drop it. I mean, this is an in your lap opportunity to begin the building blocks of a great career in manufacturing. And again, if you want to go for more advanced training, that's great. If you want to come out of high school and find a good job with basic skills, and you can do that too. Sure.
Starting right there, taking the first step at Reidsville High School. We've got about a minute and a half, maybe 2 minutes left, Jeff, but I want to talk about that momentum because I had a news story today about new businesses opening in Eden and Madison and Mayodan and Reidsville. I mean, the building boom, the momentum, you think things have slowed down with COVID, but I mean, people are moving and making things happen, getting things done, opening new businesses.
It's amazing. Some of our manufacturers are doing better than they have in years.
Yeah.
Some of them have slowed down. I mean, it's just the nature of the situation we face, but we haven't slowed down. Our residential growth continues to be a boom. We're continuing to see retail development and interest in more of that. Downtown businesses are still continuing to open, and Lucky City Brewing's almost near construction completion, and just so many cool things happening. And like I said, I mean, we just we take these circumstances and we just figure out how to push through it. It's the only way to get past it is through it.
Well, I know it's a lot of hard work to get from point A to point B when you're looking at a new industry coming to the county and to Reidsville. And I know there's a lot going on behind the scenes all the time, but we get those news releases and then they open and all of that. So, Jeff, I want to thank you for your team Reidsville for your hard work in making it happen. Thank you.
Well, thank you. We appreciate it. It is always a team effort, and this project in particular involves so many important people, and everybody, nobody slowed down when the tough questions were asked. We dug harder and answered the tough questions with a positive yes, and kudos to everybody involved.
Yes, indeed. Jeff, always good to talk to you. Thanks for the good report.
Thanks, Mike. Talk to you again soon.
You bet. Okay. Thanks. Bye. Jeff Garstka is Economic Development Director for the City of Reidsville. Get more information at rocketinreidsville.com.